It seems like any other ordinary day in Harare. Defiant street vendors are setting up shop on any space they can find on the pavements. The city council gave an ultimatum to these vendors: move voluntarily or be forcibly evicted. Now that deadline has passed already. There's no police in sight, and as you can see, it's business as usual. A few riot police vehicles were seen driving around the city centre, but they haven't started enforcing the order. The vendors say they're not intimidated. Their anger is palpable.
We want jobs first. They promised us 2.2 million jobs. We want our jobs first before anything. That way we are very clear.
Zimbabwe, a place of visceral mountainous scenery, remarkable diversity and magnificent landscapes. Our story is not limited to the multitude of our cultures and genius monuments, but to the contribution of each and every citizen of this beautiful nation.
Sadly, what used to be the breadbasket of Africa, Zimbabwe, our nation, has become an epitome of grief and economic depression, having to import some of the most basic commodities, with skyrocketing inflation reaching 319.40%, the black market fueling exchange rates, unemployment reaching a staggering 90% as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, majority of companies have had to close down. The informal sector has not been spared either, as city councils have completely demolished vending stalls, showing no hope of vendors resuming business. These developments have left breadwinners with no income, farmers failing to reinvest or sell their produce, consumers being exploited by the few available suppliers.
We heard the cries of the people and felt their pain, so we put our minds together and came up with Project Vendors Hub, a community-based association aimed at improving the working conditions and operations for the vendors. Vendors Hub also seeks to bring investment solutions to farmers, provide accessible produce to consumers at fair prices while ensuring safety and reduced exposure to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So, how did we do it? Well, we conducted a thorough needs assessment where we met Melissa, a 28-year-old woman who is the sole breadwinner in a family of 5, supporting her husband, her 2 children, and her younger sister. Previously, she made a living from selling fruits and vegetables at Esigodini, and ever since the lockdown began, she has lost her business and is now faced with high cost of rentals as she seeks to keep a roof over her family and provide meals for them. The situation had never been easy, but of late, it is beginning to grow like a cancer. This is her story.
I am mother of 2. Ndoita project yekutengesa zvinhu zvangu zvirapa nemavegetable nemacabbages. Saka ndaitengesera kustreet before lockdown, before coronavirus. Asi nekuda kwecorona ndakutengesera pamba. And pamba pacho hapana munhu anombouya kuzotenga. Pandaitengesera kustreet ndaigona kutobata 100 bond kana kudarika per day. But izvezvi pa 2 days ndogona kutobata 20 bond and below. Saka ndirikungokumbirawo kuti kunemi vechidiki kana muchikwanisa kutibatsira mutibatsiro, uye ndine vana 2 vanoenda kuchikoro. Ndakanzwa kuti zvikoro zvakuda kuvhurwa. Handizivi kuti vana ava vachaendera kuchikoro kana kuti vachagara, nekuti handina mari yacho yekuti ndivabhadharire fees, yekuti ndivatengere mabhuku kana mapeni, kana kuti chikafu chekuti vadye vari pano pamba handitorina, nekuti hupfu izvezvi zviri kuita 5 years. Ini 5 years ndogona kuita kana chekuita. Coronavirus yakauya kuzoparadza pasi rese nekuparadza nesu vapenyu, tiri kutambura zvisingaite. Ndinotenda hangu imimi vekunasi.
So how did you solve this?
We came up with the decentralized vendors network. Through the network, we could drive customers to the vendors regardless of their location, regulate prices of goods, provide safe, legal, and healthy vending stalls for the registered vendors. Through our vending network, we're making it possible for vendors to communicate through SMS and WhatsApp how much stock they need and have it delivered to their vending stalls so they can fulfill their commitment to their customers in their spheres of influence.
To date, we have engaged 23 vendors in suburbs, mostly in Bulawayo and a few in Harare, improving the livelihoods of 19 families. Although we have not yet secured a space for stalls in the CBD, these vendors are benefiting from our fast, reliable, and convenient supply of produce.
Now, taking you through the finances of our project. Most of our revenue comes from daily subscriptions of 50 RTGS dollars paid by the vendors for the use of space allocated to us by the Bulawayo City Council as well as our vending stalls. The other revenue comes from companies and small to medium enterprises that pay to advertise on our vending stalls.
During the first months of operation, we discovered that there was yet another huge challenge. There were delays in produce deliveries and our vendors were paying hefty prices to middlemen who would bring the supplies to them. So we decided to act and went directly to the source of the produce, which are the farmers, so as to bridge the gap.
We met Prosper, a small-scale farmer who lives in Bulawayo. He makes a living from growing crops and supplying boarding schools and restaurants. Usually, Prosper was able to sell all his produce, or at times there would be excess demand. Last season, he grew crops such as cabbages and tomatoes and had a good harvest. However, he could only sell a fraction of his output before the vendors he supplied were dispersed, leaving him stranded with the produce. Of the little he sold, the value of the money dwindled overnight due to the high inflation. At the time we met him, he was struggling to find funding to reinvest and also skeptical about planting, now fearing that he would not be able to secure a market. In total, farmers lose over 40 tons as post-harvest losses as a result of failure to secure markets. This is what he had to say.
Farming industry has been particularly hit hard by this global pandemic. The demand of fresh produce is way down. Schools are closed, hotels and restaurants. This is where we used to take our products to, and the markets that are currently open, they're no longer taking as much as they used to. People, they don't have access to these markets just because they're failing to get proper documentations to these markets. Farmers are losing way a lot because once they take their production or their produce to the market, not all of it is able to be sold. Most of it is going to be rotten. As you see, I'm in my tomato field, and if this continues, I'm scared that I'm going to fail to sell most of my tomatoes. We are failing as farmers to get access to people, but people still need to eat. We face an tremendous uncertainty. Prosper Chikwara here, farming at Mzingwane. Thank you so much.
We believe in the strength of collaborations, and so we joined hands with FarmHeart, a dynamic, tech-enabled startup that supports smallholder farmers like Prosper, offering various solutions to solve the numerous challenges faced by farmers, such as a crowdfunding platform that raises required capital for targeted goals, among others. To date, we have 3,260 registrations in total, and transactions have reached over 1,800 with 608 farmers. We are proud to say that output has increased remarkably. Prosper now earns 40% more than he used to, and other farmers have also indicated an increase in earnings.
Through the partnership of Vendors Hub and FarmHeart, not only are we enabling small-scale farmers to reach their markets, we're also creating opportunities for the vendors. Now, all our vendors have to do is remain within the suburbs where they're allowed to conduct their business without having to worry about how they'll restock when coffers run dry, or pay hefty delivery prices as they now have access to fresh supplies straight from FarmHeart. For every sale we make, we get a 4% commission from the farmers, and through which we reinvest in order for us to be able to expand our network to reach other areas and to connect other vendors too.
We as the NAST Enactors team will stop at nothing to attain the fulfillment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Our projects are aligned to SDG 1, No Poverty, SDG 2, Zero Hunger, SDG 3, Good Health and Well-Being. We listen to what society needs and offer best solutions to improve lives. Where others fear failure, we fear never having tried.
We are proud of the impact we have made through empowering vendors and expanding the network of farmers' community, not forgetting the 27 jobs created and making a total of 9,674 RTGS dollars.
Through the powerful partnership with FarmHeart and the Zimbabwe Farmers Union, from segregation to sustenance, our Project Vendors Hub is creating extraordinary success with ordinary lives, set to create impact infinity.
As NAST Enactors Zimbabwe, we dwell on what must be, what can be, what should be, and together we act.